welcome to another exciting episode of the Men's Lounge. Yes, I know, last week we didn't show up, and it's all because we're still in the football fever. Well, we're still in there. We're waiting for the 18th to see the final. Of course, tomorrow, and I think some of the days before the 18th has the semi-final games to play. And so, yes, that was the reason why we couldn't show up. Like, you know, men and how we love our football. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, that's the reason why we couldn't bring you the show. But all the same, I want to say a very big thank you for joining us this evening. There's something we'll be discussing, very, very important. But before I even get there, how has your weekend been? Two major things, right? So the football, especially Africa, there's a representation still in there. And you and I are a dollar, but you are leave the dollar. I just want to talk about the Morocco being in there. I think it's great that all of us, you know, will rally behind Morocco as an African representation that is still in there. It would be great to see them in the final itself and possibly lift the cup. I mean, yeah, it will be a record, history, everything. Who knows? It probably might even pave the way for more Africans to be part of the World Cup going forward. What can I say? Feel free. Join us on all our social media platforms at ETV Ghana as we bring you today's discussion. I'm going to go on my very first break. When I'm back, I'll introduce to you the guest and the topic, and then we have the discussion. Remember, it's the Christmas season. I'm sure you can see how hey, don't fall. Yes, in my childhood I didn't experience this, but now, yeah, here am I enjoying it. Anyway, I'll be back shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome back if you're just joining us. We are in the lounge now about to start our discussions. Today, we are discussing a topic that's more relative to men, as we always do. And today we are talking about the challenges and rewards of male friendship. So we want to look at the kind of friendships or how male, you know, you and I, how we make friends, okay? And the challenges and the rewards in there. I'm not here alone. I'm here with two very, very good folks of mine. I have with me Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur, who happens to be a medical doctor, clinical psychologist, and a relationship coach. Isaac, good to see you.
Charlie.
So that's Dr. Newman Arthur over there. I also have with me Harrison Ahogba, investment and financial consultant. He's a life coach also. Harry, from afar, Boozer. Yeah. COVID brought us a better Boozer. Guys, good to see you.
All right, thanks. Nice
Coming from the weekend, how was your weekend?
Somewhere.
I'll put this in Ghana. You're not even in Ghana. Harry?
Well, I've been relaxing watching football, and then, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, Morocco has brought some hope.
Oh, yeah, to
And I think it
Africa.
will change some football administration decisions to be made because of the ability to have crossed that line. You
And
know,
the
that
local involvement of the
you
team.
understand.
Yeah.
And I like everything about them, the coach, the players, and all. And then the fact that they defied the odds and were able to put a smile on our faces is a great achievement.
Yeah, it looks like they are very united. You know, the kind of energy
Yeah.
Yeah.
put up in their
Yeah,
games.
they are playing for each other.
Yes, it
Yeah.
looks like they are really dying for.
They didn't
Yes.
show any sign of intimidation, fear, or respect. They were just very focused, and when they had that ultimate chance, they just took it and Charlie Agbena.
Well, I'm sure you understand why we are still having this. It's men. I mean, we love our football. I mean, you can't take it away from us. And the fact that we are Africans and there is at least one more African country in there, you know, holding up the flag of Africa. We are very much excited. For me, I wish they go further. If not lift the cup, at least they play the final and get to be the second. I mean, I'll be very glad if, and because for me, an African team got to that level. It can't ever be said that in the World Cup or in the era of the World Cup, no African team has crossed the quarterfinal. At least now that jinx has been broken. It means that next 4 years, more African teams should get there. You know, one day it would be nice to have two African teams play at the final.
It's possible.
Can it happen?
But of course.
Yeah.
No, but the France team is made up of blacks. You know, I think it's the way we handle ourselves.
So United Africa,
That's
yeah.
where the problem
Yeah,
is.
that's true.
Anyway, so guys, today we are going to be discussing male and the kind of, you know, friendship that we have. It's been said over and over that people who make good relationship, who make good friendship, live longer. Loneliness kills. But men, there seems to be an idea that our kind of friendship is different. I mean, with a little research, you'd realize that men are more interested in friendship that's more, there's business involved. At least there has to be more like a give and take, you know, something in there. How true is this? This is what we are about to find out. So, Doctor, maybe I'll start from you. How important is friendship when it comes to men?
So the first statement I would want to make is that we need to understand that men and women are different. Men are different. The way we see things, the way we respond to things, the value we place on things, what we want to do, achieve, is totally different. Our brains are totally different. You know, the way we feel, our feelings about things, totally different. So men and women are different. You know, and in this day and age where some people think that a man can be a woman can be a man, it's just absurd. Men are different, right? From our genes, our DNA, we're totally different. And that should be very, very clear, because sometimes we expect a woman to behave like a man and a man to behave like a woman. That is where there are problems. So if you're having a relationship with a woman, a man must be expected to be a man.
A man.
A woman must be expected
To be a woman, yeah.
And we are expected to express ourselves in our uniqueness. You know, and so that is why sometimes it creates that difficulty, you know, between even a man and a woman kind of relationship. But relationships for men are so important because for us as men, relationships is what gets the job done.
Okay.
So like you said earlier on, we are more activity driven. Women are more relationship driven.
With a lot of emotions.
Yeah, so a man may just be in a relationship with someone just because of an activity. And that activity is the focus. Everything else is okay. So you can put 5 men in a room in a hostel. And by the time you come back in 5 years, they are cool. Because they can. It's really about the activities. Maybe we are in a room, whatever happens in a room, everybody is cool. Like everybody, we are like that. But women, because they form relationships, if you put 5 women in a room, before you realize there are cliques here and there, 2 men have gathered, and I have gathered, don't do this, don't do that. Men are totally different. And it's okay to be different. There is nothing wrong of being a woman or being a man. But we are more, activity driven. That is why even when it comes to sexual relationships, women are interested in intimacy, men are interested in sex. Finish.
That's the business focus.
So a man can even see someone he has no relationship with, have sex with, and just move on.
Yeah.
But for a woman to get to that point, you know, there should be some level of relationship,
commitment.
You know, some level of commitment. So we are totally different. So relationships are very important to us because it gets the job done. And every man's brain is activity, getting things done. I don't know how that's how it is. Sometimes I wonder why nothing else comes to my mind. You know, you wake up and it's just activity. You forget your own birthday, you forget the wedding anniversary, you forget, last time I was in a bank and they needed a detail about
your house number.
No, even my kids, you know, there's some detail. It was their birthdays. You know, and I know that is January and February. You know, but I was there and I said, so who is January, who is February? And I said, am I that irresponsible? I said, no, I'm not irresponsible. But you know, there is something about the brain of men that does not pick some other things. You know, and so usually relationships for us, you know, is really to get the job done. And it gets it done.
So that if I get you rightly, you mean to say women are more like a steam iron. When you pluck, it takes a couple of minutes, if not hours, for it to heat up. But we are just like a switch bulb. But light us.
And then fire goes on.
You know, right? So, but I get you. It's like you rightly said, we are more objective driven. There's a goal we have to we seek to achieve. We set those goals for ourselves, and it appears those drivers pushes us to not to align to some expectation for especially the female, but that is not the case. Like you mentioned, what we consider to be like a result-oriented activity, somebody or another person wouldn't see that. But guess what? We are able to get it done. So for instance, the explanation you just gave about the dates of your kids, perhaps you're going to pay fees or something. So, but you're able to do it, which is very important. So the most important thing is the money, the fees, the bank account number. But once they ask you which class, 6A or 6B, then there is an issue. So basically, I can align myself with your introduction of the comment. So basically, we separate us. But friendship is very important. I mean, it forms the bedrock of all relationships. So no matter how it looks like, but I get what Doc said. You put us 6, like there can be a funeral, a football match, a guy walks past and joins the fray, and before he realizes, as if they've known each other for a long time, they will discuss, they will laugh, they will chat, and then once the match is over, everybody goes his or her way. So we consider friendship very important. However, our approach is different.
It's different. Let me find out this. How hard is it? Is it sometimes too hard to make friends or maintain friendship amongst men?
Well, it depends on the extent to which the goals are achieved. It depends. So there are 3 levels of I wouldn't say friendships, but relationships, right? And it cuts across. The first is what I call the crowd. The crowd are the people who they know you to some extent, but they really there's nothing really. So for example, for me, there are people who know me by name. They're probably watching me. They just know, okay, this person. So they are the crowd. They really do not have any significant hold or interaction with you. Then we have their acquaintances. The acquaintances, they are inner, they are a bit closer to you than the crowd. They know you have some level of relationship with, but it's really more like an official kind of relationship. You meet them once a while, and that ends there. Then the other closer relationship is the friends. You spend a bit more time with, you interact with them, more, you understand them, they understand you, you share something a bit deeper with them. Then we have the innermost of your circle of relationship. That's what we call the intimates. The intimates are the besties. They are the very, very close friends, and they know virtually everything about you.
They've gone past friend to brother.
Yes. Your weaknesses, your strengths, everything. And they are there, and people like that are there because it's you. Not what you've done, what you do. It's you. And that level of friendship, to get there for a man, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time.
Irrespective of the fact that it is easy for us to make friends.
So it's easy, but we are thoughtful about who comes into our circle. Because we really do not open up that easily. And true. If a man opens up easily to you, it means that he's actually evaluated you for a long time. And knows that whatever vulnerability is being exposed would actually be more beneficial than what is exposed. So it takes a while to get there as a man. And for our heart to follow someone is difficult. We really don't put everything into.
You maybe test the water.
one foot in there, how cold or hot it is before you join the other.
If I get you right, just to try to, as it were, the first option or the first objective in terms of the crowd is to finding who will be that friend of yours towards having a certain relationship of a sort. And this thing happens a lot whereby we find ourselves. When you go to school, you're in church, whatever, there are people, like you mentioned, everybody knows you. There are people you see them, you don't even know their name, but they get to know you. So finding is a very important. That's where you'd want to align yourself in terms of your strengths, your weaknesses, and see who's aligned with yours. Otherwise, the other thing is that it won't work. Then, having found that one, then you have to now make the effort of making that friendship. There are people who, like you rightly said, they are acquaintances. For some reason, you just flow on some lines, not necessarily. There are things I can do with you, but I will not go deeper, just because of how our friendship was made up. So again, the objective or the motive of the friendship is equally important. But the most difficult one, which I tend to agree with you, is how to keep that friendship. And which is very, very difficult, because now you are going to open up a lot. And opening up takes a lot of risks. And here, I know we'll be discussing the challenges and then the rewards. So for you to position yourself to say that this is my friend. Most of the time when your colleagues ask you and say, oh, this guy is my friend, they immediately say this guy or this person. They quickly look at the person in a certain mirror and see which part of you could make this friendship with the other person work. So immediately I say doctor is my friend, someone will say, is it because we talk on the show? Is it like what value?
What's the connection?
What is the connection?
Yeah.
So that makes keeping friendship very, very important. So on the journey, you could see that some people will fall off. Not because you don't like them as a friend.
And not because you are not friends anymore.
That is the issue. Because at any point in time, some expectations might not be met. Okay? Very soon, Doc might get to a level where, for some reason, I might not be able to reach him. Not because he doesn't like me, but because where he is, what he's doing, the kind of friends or people he's dealing with now. But those are the nuances that we'll be able to discuss so that people would understand and not say that because now you're on TV, if you even call you don't
pick up.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at the friendship again from another angle.
Great.
So how different is it, or how is it like? Let's use ages.
Yeah.
Okay, taking I mean from that's a very infinitesimal age to about 10, and then let's look at between that 10 and the 18 years, and then from the 18 years, 25 years and above. How different are these kinds, the friendship that young men, boys make? How different, if you're able to put it in these three, you know, age brackets, how different is it?
So usually our behaviors are tied to our cognitive development. You know, how well your brain is developing, especially the frontal part of your brain. You know, that is responsible for cognitive function. And usually by mid-20s, that is when it's fully developed. That is why before like 25, almost all your decisions are kind of rubbish in a way, because your brain is still developing. So in the adolescent years, childhood adolescent years, you may have some pure friendships, not based on the fact that you've thought about it, but based on the fact that you just need some company for you to be understood. You know, childhood friendships, you know, are influenced a lot by, you know, ability to be understood and how comfortable I am in your company and how well, you know, I feel around you. You know, so a child may just be friends with someone because the person makes the child feel very, very comfortable, you know, and understood. So teenagers move to their peer influence is just understanding me. You know, I want to be understood, because the teenage years is characterized by three things: formation of your own world views, independence, and also your own self-identity. Very important. And so parents around that time struggle with their adolescent child just because, you know, they are cognitive development where they are more scientific in their approach and they really want to discuss things. So when they lose that friendship with parents, then they turn to others who can understand them. So it may purely be on the level of who understands me and who makes me feel comfortable in the person's company. But the moment they cross that stage and they are well developed cognitively and stuff like that, in the, you know, mid ages here and there, then that one is more of a business kind of a friendship where common goals come in. You know, that we flow on a certain level because we are all going to a certain destination. And that is where the destination is so important. You know, so now adults form friendships based on the destination, shared goals and responsibilities and destination. You know, the rest has to, even if they are hanging around with you and they are playing golf, and there is some goal, there is some discussions going on. So we begin to play by sizes in terms of our own social network and the influence that we're making on society. So shared goals and influence is so important, especially as you age. But before that, everything is more emotional. Who understands me? The moment you begin to grow and realize that there's some, you know, significant cognitive development where you can actually think about your life and the future, then shared goals and influence in terms of social network and stuff comes in. So you realize in societies, you realize that as for men, they move, you know, realize there are some cliques, you know, business partners, they meet over a drink. And even they are playing golf, it's business. You know, even if they are, you know, so you can't, and there are some,
I'm going to come to you on this one. Let me take you on this one. So, I mean, yes, so that age brackets, you're able to tell what drives the friendship, what the purpose is, and naturally, what seemed to be the norm. Of course, parents have to begin to understand that, look, it gets to a certain time, yes, those H's will be there, but you have to also try to understand them some way, somehow. But let me come to you, Harry. Guys, men, loneliness. Are men the type that are always lonely, or men don't mind? I mean, they don't care being alone.
Look, but I think culturally that's what has influenced the posturing. When we talk of loneliness, it not necessarily mean that you are alone. Sometimes you can be in the midst of people, but you are still lonely. And I dare say that growing up, most of us men didn't have the opportunity to correlate with our parents. And this has formed some mindset and has affected how we are. Even this show, a great platform like this, if it was available 30 years ago, you can imagine the kind of impact that would have had on some narratives now. So yes, we define loneliness by activity again. So yes, we get lonely and even scarier, because here you don't have an opportunity to, like when you're going to the market with your you see mommy and your sister or somebody, it works. But for us, hardly will you see that kind of relationship between. So most of the time, like Doc said, he goes to pay the fees, but the kids to be told fees have been paid. Between the payment and the hustle of paying, they don't know how it was paid. So every time the provision is done, how it was provided becomes absent. So yes, it creates that level of loneliness at every stage in our life. How we express it, however, is also another challenge. That's serious. So yes, like he mentioned, because I am lonely, I'll find a relationship that also aligns with me in that level of loneliness. And then we'll talk about what the effect of this loneliness are. So yes, I will tell you, men, guys are very lonely. We can vitiate that with other things, football, maybe alcohol, whatever thing. But whatever it is, ultimately, you see that men are very lonely.
Well, I'll take you on this one. Please stay with us. We'll be back shortly. We're going for the next break. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are in the men's lounge discussing male friendship, the challenges and the rewards and all. And so far, we've been told that, well, when it comes to loneliness, men are also very lonely. But when we are also as lonely as, should I say, the women? We don't know about the women, but yeah. And except that men are men, we are wired as men, and so our friendship and relationship is quite different, and it's easier and faster. We can easily make friends, but it takes a while for you to go beyond being just friends to be called a brother. Like, oh no, this one is a brother. It takes a while. We are very careful also when it comes to that. Before we went on break, we were talking about the loneliness issue, and Doc, men, I'm trying to already agree that we get lonely, but I'm hoping you can say something different.
Yeah, well, you see, what we don't, people, no, I won't say don't know, but we tend to ignore is that men are also deeply emotional.
Very emotional.
Yes, deeply emotional.
I am.
Yes, but our upbringing and orientation suppresses the expression of our emotions. And because of that, we become very isolated in ourselves and also from others, because we don't want to be judged by being ourselves, and be branded as weak. So, for example, a boy child is crying, you are likely to say, oh, don't cry. Yes, but if a girl child cries, you're likely to lift the girl child and kiss the forehead, and show some love or pampering. And so a lot of boys are growing up, with deep emotional problems, which they usually do not express to anybody. And they actually use all kinds of things, addictive behaviors. They may use illicit sex. They may use work. A lot of people, men who you think are very, very hard working, is only an escape from a certain dark place, And every man is looking for a hiding place.
Of course.
Every man is looking for a place where they have someone important they can express themselves to. And that is why you may have,
You mean someone or something?
So someone, usually someone, let me use an example in the Bible. When this name comes up, everybody has a certain negative perception. Samson.
Yeah.
Samson, well, if you read Judges 14:15, he went to a prostitute and it didn't end anywhere. But the third one, the Bible talks about the fact that he went to see a Philistine woman, it's Delilah, and he fell in love with her. And the guy was always going to her. Why? And I was thinking, this guy was ready to sacrifice his secret, his power, everything for her. He wasn't a fool. There was something that he was getting from Delilah that he got. That was even
He
more
got in abundance.
That was even more important to him, because to him the assignment was stress, but there was something that made life worth living for her.
Yeah.
Imagine you being beaten by the world and everything. You think about him with all the strength and the fighting. He comes home, beaten, bruised, and worn out. He needed a comfort, a hiding place to go back the next day stronger to be able to face the world. So I'm sure he also at some point felt some level of loneliness. And even God acknowledged that the man should not be alone, and he made him a helper, And so men can be in a very, very dark place. And if they are not able to cope and adjust well, they may use all kinds of abnormal behaviors like addictions and stuff to be able to cope with those deep emotional problems.
Well said, Doc. So there's another aspect I want us to look at, especially considering modernization, digitization. I mean, things have changed a lot. Is there anything that is different when it comes to modern friendship, when it comes to men? Has something changed? Is it still the same, or something is influencing friendship amongst men?
So I think Doc rightly laid a foundation when he spoke about the shared values. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't say the fundamentals have changed. They are still the same. However, it's become borderless now, and it's become more expansive. It's become a culturally inclusive, and then because of what you would have ordinarily be doing in a certain way in your locality now has been exposed, so you can't continue to do things the same way you used to do. Okay, so that challenges you to also open up. So Doc rightly mentioned when we started talking about the fact that my value should align with yours. Here I am, say, in Kaswa, brought up in a certain way, whether with my dad or without my dad, whether with a mentor or without a mentor, whatever it is, here I am. So linking with Doc in Tema or in Dansuma, the environment in Dansuma and Tema is totally different from the one in Kaswa. So modernization here, if I push it further, means that we find ourselves in the same office, in the same organization, in the same club or association. Then the challenge is how those shared values. So here, there should be a compromise of a sort. So there are things I would give up, and there are things I can't give up. And Doc or whoever it is who is my friend also have to. So I wouldn't say the fundamentals have changed. However, with now cultural intrusion, with now globalization and all, there will be the need for you to appreciate and understand where that person or the other person is coming from. Then your shared values can be aligned. Otherwise, if you are going to close in and say, this is how I do it, this is how we work, or this is how we do it, it will be very difficult for you to coexist.
Doc?
Yeah, and I think the mode, in addition to what you said, the mode of communication has also expanded and it's become easier and simpler. You can be in Ghana and have a mentor in the US.
Yeah.
And you have...
And it's easy to connect all the time.
You may connect and follow each other up and share things that, because your experience in some other, environment may be very, very relevant in another environment. So it's opened us up to something that I think is beautiful. And sometimes you may have someone who is even a brother at a distance, and you can even share your life with the person even better than those who are close.
Who are closer, yeah, true.
Yes.
But Doc, with all these things said, what do men value the most in friendships?
Well, I think it's achieving the goal. That's what we value. We value someone who adds value to your life. That's, you see, when we meet and we are having conversations, usually conversations that gets you somewhere all the time. You hardly find a man sitting down and discussing other people. You hardly. You may have, even if they are discussing someone else, it may not be the same way women may discuss other people. we have things we focus on, you know, and we really, if you find a man who is really a gossip, like you know.
Oh, but do a whole. I mean, men too like a concern.
Yes, but it's not. There's a way we go about it. You know, there's a way men to really sit down and really discuss another person. It's some way we prefer talking about other things,
than having to talk about
another
guy,
people,
another man,
other things about the person, not really
not
the
really.
person. No, we
that's
really.
True. That's very true. But you know, I mean, this point where we probably would say that, look, well, we already agree that friendship amongst women is problematic or a little problematic. Don't men also have problems in friendships?
Yeah, they do. But you know, there are women who love keeping friends who are boys because of this reason.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
Yes.
A lot.
A lot.
Who love keeping because we are kind of easy to go. We don't make big issues out of many things. You know, and we are also not too sensitive to certain things. And like I said, it's good to be a woman. It's good to be a man. It's as simple. You know,
so we just need to understand that we are different.
We are different, and our difference is okay. That is what makes the world, you know, go round. You know, it's okay. You know, but
so do men have problems? Just
yeah, we do.
We
do, especially when you know you have a certain code that is broken. You know, and men can really be very very. When they are done with you, they are done with you.
Oh yeah.
Men can be very very hard on each other when it comes to shared goals and values.
You know, when you started, I was going to talk about the issue of how trust builds the value system for we the men, and it goes a very long way to determine how far a relationship would go in terms of value. So aside the performance-driven, the objectivity, the activity, and all, here comes it. Like you rightly mentioned, there's something, a code. Something that we all hold dear, and then it is broken. It becomes so difficult for you to pick the pieces up. And even if you seem not to be unforgiving, you really would want to stay clear so that the next attempt of that code being broken again will not cause you more harm. So men can really be closed in, and they will play along, but they wouldn't want to expose it, especially because once that code is broken on my side and I also break your code, you have no idea where we are going.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You see, so even if you look at most of these cartels and stuff, you know, they can be very, very ruthless with guys. You know, you're gone. You know, it can. But you see, we also forgive easily. Yeah. You know, we also forgive easily. We may not keep dates, we may not keep the details, but the lessons will never be forgotten. We may not keep the dates, but the lessons
we carry it along everywhere.
You are dialing some numbers.
Keep the dates.
You know, just as men are also seen to be much less emotional. Okay, even in relationships, I mean, no, they are less expressive of their emotions in relationships. Yeah. All right, when it comes to a man and a woman's relationship. So amongst men also, when we're able to make our friends, is it still like that?
Yeah, so it's more of expression of emotions, but we are deeply emotional.
Yeah, but so I mean, so amongst men, I mean, friendship with man, with the woman, yes, but man too. Are we still?
Yeah, we are likely to be more physical with each other than to be more emotional with each other. We are likely to take, you know, certain steps.
Some extreme steps.
You know,
so what is wrong, cry with us as men? I mean, in normal relationship, as in you and your wife, you and girlfriend, I mean, you are not expressive. Okay, when it comes to emotions, maybe by upbringing and what we have seen as Bema or a man.
Monkeys play by sizes.
No, could it not be that I'm a man, you are one, and I expect you to understand?
And so because of that, when the men meet, we think it's okay. We don't have to talk.
You should know what I'm going like this. You all know.
How can I know?
It's you know, it's natural for us to be more tender with women than to be with the same man, with a man, because we are men. And we should be able to have a manly kind of, you know, conversation, a manly kind of, you know, resolution of a conflict. We don't expect the same thing with men can fight each other in terms of physical, but would dare not do that with another female.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot has been revealed. There was one I was going to ask, but you know, men, we like to be nice to ourselves. We don't ask all kinds of questions. You know, the women like to hear nice things, which is the reason men tend to say a lot of things that we know is not true, but we have to say because we want to hear the nice things. I was wondering whether amongst men to friendship we lie to each other, but it's okay. Let's go on this break. We'll be back shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We are still in the lounge discussing friendship, male friendship, the challenges and the rewards. So now let's just go straight to the point. I'm still here with Dr. Isaac Newman-Arthur, and my friend Harrison. He always makes me laugh. I'll tell you why I laugh when I see him. I can't say it today. Maybe next week when he's not here, I'll do the concern. Guys, let's look at the challenges when it comes to male friendships and the rewards. Doc, what are some of the challenges and the rewards?
I think that maybe I'll mention two. The first has to do with...
Doc, hold on. Before you proceed, the phone lines are open now. The number is 0555 657278. 0555 657278. Call us. Let's hear your point. Let's share your view. You can ask me a question, or you can ask Doc or Harrison a question. Okay? Yeah. Doc?
Yeah, so it's more of communicating clearly sometimes. Sometimes we expect the person to know. Because we're guys, there are things that we don't expect to say.
Yeah.
We expect you to know. So that can be a very, very big barrier. You know, because we are not a lot more expressive, sometimes we expect that if I'm a male friend, there are things you should know. And two, betrayal. You know, men take betrayal seriously because it takes a lot of effort to open up.
Yeah.
So when you open up, you expect the person to hold you, we hold the person in trust. And so if that is, it's a serious thing, you know, and people usually men usually betray each other so they can have an advantage. And that advantage may be business advantage, something. And when that happens, it's really challenging. And so to find someone you can really trust and to be able to open up to the person, it takes a lot. And when usually men open the door, they've opened the door.
Yeah.
You know, and men can go all extent to be able to make sure that that door stays open. Probably let me add also as to our appreciation of the effort you put in the other person's life. It's one of the things we really, because we do a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and so if we show some level of what do you call it, help, we expect some reciprocal. So Charlie, I give you a gig, you give me a gig, that kind of thing.
You see that thing?
You know, I network you and network me, that kind of
sort me out, sort you
yeah,
out.
that thing. You know, we do that because we really want the things to be achieved. And so that is why groups where they promote each other, they tend to be very, very solid.
Yeah.
Yes, they tend to be very, very
They're
close.
closed in.
Yes, they're closed in.
They, as it were, they ring fence themselves and they can't enter.
I mean, I've seen men groups that have survived over 20 years. A typical example is the Union Ghana.
Sure.
It has. I won't mention the names of some of the members, but they've been in existence over. I think they are. 20 years and probably between 20 and 25 years and counting.
Sure.
And it's just men, and they have rules and all that, and
that
it's
is why
been
if you
together.
look at the old student association, the men old student, the boys school
Stays.
They are
Yeah,
they are one.
yeah. Anyway, I'm sure we are drawing, but before we get there, you know, I've been saying from the start about a month and a half ago that, I mean, it's the Christmas season, and even beyond December, every week I'll be giving out gifts to my guests here. And if you're a caller and you call and you catch my eye, I probably might decide to, you know,
You're not a speaker.
Speaker of Parliament.
Your seat.
My seat is different. I know. So I have something from Promasidor. Promasidor, a brand, part of Promasidor, and that's Yamvita. So they have something very nice for a lot of the kids at home, babies. But you and I know how a Moframa Idziban can be nice. But before I give this gift out, let me listen to somebody on the phone. Good evening, caller. Your name and where you are calling from? Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you. Your name and where you are calling from? Okay, there seems to be a challenge there. Please do try and call back. Thank you very much. Ms. Arthur, I have something nice for you. Make sure you get Omo. I like doing that a lot. So this is something very beautiful from Yamvita. It's supposed to be for the kids, at a certain stage.
Yes.
But it's okay. You can as well eat it. When they are asleep, you can just make a
At
little.
midnight.
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 So
Okay,
this is
thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you.
Just make sure the kids enjoy it
Thank you
at
very
home. The other one over there, let me stretch for it. Yeah, this one goes to Harry.
Yes.
Let it get home. I will check.
I'm going to make a light.
So this is for you, and this is coming from Yamvita. Yamvita is part of the Promasido group. It's one of the brands, Cowbell and all that. So
Okay.
that's the group that brings you Yamvita, and this is for the kids. Hey, you also know that it's the Christmas season, and in Ghana there's something you call the December in GH. It's a brand that's been established by the Ghana Tourism Authority. What happens with that? All events in the country come together, and we turn Accra, Ghana, into a party destination, holiday destination. So there's one of the events happening on 23rd and 24th. It's called the Taste of Ghana. From today through to 24th and 23rd and 24th, when we have our show, if you call into the show or even after the show, you could call and you win a ticket to the event. I will reserve the choice to give you a VIP or a regular. Make sure you convince me and I'll just give you a ticket. So yes, there's tickets on the Men's Lounge. Men's Lounge has purchased them, has got them available for you for free. I'll make sure I get you yours. I'll send them to your offices as well.
Great.
I'm sure this is all time could permit us to bring you for today. But before I go, Doc, your last words.
Well, men are men. It's good to be a man.
It's good to be a man,
There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
Are you asking the women to change to be men?
Well, women are women. They should
So
be-
it's good. They should be
we
women.
need men
We-
and women.
we need- yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the difference is what keeps the world going.
I get that. Harry?
Rather, I thank you again for the platform, and I'd want us to appreciate what you're doing, influencing the next generation of men. So this topic and others that we are happy to be dialoguing, let's keep the conversation going and just understand that we are special. Men are very special. Once you get that understanding, whatever behavior we put up, you just appreciate.
I mean,
what
we
we're
exist. We just don't make too much
doing.
noise.
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much for being part of Having. Thank you, Promasido. Thank you for the Yamvita. Thank you to everybody who has been able to support us to bring you the show. We'll be back next week with another episode. Please stay blessed. Take care of yourself. It's Christmas. Have fun, but just be careful.